Hello there, welcome back to my channel. It's James here. I hope you're doing well. I hope your plants are doing well. I hope those of you who are in the winter parts of the world, your plants are not suffering too much, and those of you who are in the summer, spring parts of the world, that your plants are exploding with growth, and I'm very, very jealous of you. I am coming back today with a bit of a run through of my philodendron collection. I'm not going to do all of them in this video, partially because I do not have all of my philodendrons here. Some of them are at my partner's house, and I would love to show those plants to you because some of them are my favorites, some of them. But I do have a substantial amount of plants here, number of plants. So what I'm going to do is do this video in 2 or 3 parts. I think I'm probably going to do it 10 to 15 plants at a time. This first little selection, I'm running through all of my smallest philodendrons, so my less mature kinds, my cuttings. This is not all of them, particularly for one. I'll talk you through as we get there. Let's not confuse it. So yeah, I'm just going to run you through some of my younger, smaller philodendron and just tell you a little bit about what I love about each of them. And I'll come back and do this with some of my bigger philodendron and throughout the next couple of weeks if you're interested. Right, is there anything else I need to say beforehand? I don't think so. Some of these are cuttings. Yeah, they're not all fully established plants. Only 2 of them are cuttings, the rest are fine. Right, let's get started. So I'm going to start with the smallest one just because it's closest to me right now. You've seen all of these plants before -1 in various videos, but they've all grown, so it's a slightly different thing. So you will get something new out of this video as well, hopefully. This is my Philo Ring of Fire. You have seen it before. I got it as a teeny little chunk of stem. Ooh, it could probably do with a bit of watering. It's wobbling because the sphagnum around the base is a little bit dry, so I'll give it a bit of water after. All of these plants are in my greenhouse at the moment, and I will do a little greenhouse tour at some point. It's just a bit of a mess, and because it's quite a small greenhouse for the number of plants I have, it's hard to film and make it make sense. I've done it before, I've tried to record something and it just looks like a mass of leaves. So I'm going to find a way to film that because I think it is helpful, maybe, to you. We will see. So yeah, Philodendron Ring of Fire. This guy gets big ruffled leaves when he gets bigger and more mature. I'm not really sure what he's doing. He's not growing a huge amount, partially because he's in this teeny little pot. But I'm also quite happy with that because I'm not ready to have a fully fledged mature Ring of Fire in my space. I'm sure when it gets bigger I'll find a space to have it year round. It probably doesn't need to be in my greenhouse, honestly. I feel like they're quite hardy plants. I have a few philodendrons around the house that are not in even a room with a humidifier. Like I've got a Brazil here, I've got a Prince of Orange over there, and they're fine in here, even when the heating's not working super, super well. So that's all right. Yeah, plant number 1, Philodendron Ring of Fire. Love it. If you don't know what it looks like when it's mature, Google it. It's pretty. Yeah. Moving on to number 2 and 3, these are going to be familiar for you if you have watched any of my previous videos. Consider this a little update on their progress. So plant number 1, this is my Philodendron verrucosum. It is, as you can see, doing pretty well compared to how it was when I got it. Reminder, or if you didn't see the videos, it didn't have any leaves, didn't have any roots, it was just a nice little stick that arrived in the post for me. So I had it in rehab for a while and it is now doing pretty well, although the growth has really slowed down and the root growth has slowed down a little bit. For a while, this guy was just pushing out roots like crazy, but I can't really see any new ones. So I'm wondering whether I need to repot or whether he's a little bit wet. I'll have a little nose into that medium afterwards, see what I can do about it. So yeah, Verrucosum melanochrysum. It is one of the most beautiful leaves, I think, on a philodendron. It's just so iridescent and like there are so many tones and colours in the leaf there. It's beautiful. If you have a chance to get one of these, particularly one of the more mature plants, I would absolutely go for it. Quite easy as well. Like, despite everything that happened to it, I haven't had a problem with it at all. Oh. Yeah, plant number 2. Number 3, obviously, is the Philodendron gloriosum, so the Philodendron Glorious. This guy is doing super well. Again, this was one that arrived as a little twig, and it is thriving. It's putting out roots left, right and centre. It's got this nice fat new leaf, well, relatively new, and a new one coming out right there. So within the next couple of weeks there will be a new beautiful leaf, because it's already started to emerge. So that's very exciting. This is definitely one of my favourites. It just has the best parts, I think, of both plants, Melanochrysum and Gloriosum. So I love it. Number 3. Yeah. Let's go. Number 4. Last time I showed you this plant, oh, it's dripping a little bit. That's not great. It was quite small and it had very little variegation, but it has since then started putting out some nicely variegated leaves. This is a Philodendron Birkin. I got it as a plant grown from seed, apparently, according to the listing. So yeah, it was tiny and it had very, very little, very small markings on the leaves, almost nothing. They were all these kind of dark green leaves. Obviously the most recent leaf is that highly variegated striped leaf there. The one before, and it's quite cool actually. You can see on the back of the leaf, the Birkin sometimes gets these random patches of red variegation, which I didn't realise beforehand, but it's very pretty. It kind of messes up the white variegation, but you get two kinds of variegation on the leaf, which is exciting. Very easy plant this. Could absolutely 100% do with a repotting, but I've been a little bit lazy with it because, I don't know, it's so undemanding, and yeah, there have been other more demanding plants, but don't worry, it will get its time. Yeah, it's lovely. Really, really pretty. Don't really know what to say about this. I treat all of these plants pretty much exactly the same. There's no, for these specific ones, no different care or anything like that. They're pretty easy. Philodendron don't really care if you leave them alone. Also, I don't have a massive amount of air circulation in the greenhouse that I'm using at the moment. I open the door pretty much every day for like a while, and I have a fan that blows into it at that time. But the rest of the time it's sealed or completely sealed. Sealed or almost completely sealed, so I'll sometimes leave a little bit of the bottom open, and they're fine. I've not seen any mould, any fungus on the leaves, anything like that for the Philodendron. My Anthurium may be a little bit different, but Philodendron, no problem at all. Right, next. So I have also shown you this before when it was young. I'm not massively happy with how this plant is doing, just because of the variegation. So this is my Pink Princess, as you can see from that one leaf that has variegation. I bought it because of that leaf, because I thought, oh, it's a half and half leaf. Hopefully that will carry a little bit more variegation through the stem. This is not how variegation works, my friends. It is not. Apparently, it can just completely vanish. I mean, it hasn't on this plant because I can see it running up the stem all the way into this new leaf, but it always misses the leaf, so it sticks like up into the little sheath on the petioles and doesn't actually come into the leaves. The first bit of variegation that I've seen since that leaf that it came with is this on this leaf here, which is better than nothing. It just shows us that it's still there. I've never been a massive fan of the Pink Princess. I think it's kind of an interesting spidery plant. I kind of like the appearance of it regardless of whether it's variegated, but I think it's a good thing that the prices are dropping, because I don't know if they're worth what people were spending on them a year ago. Love you. Yeah, Pink Princess, here you go, doing quite well. Again, haven't repotted. I took the plant out a couple of days ago actually to check the roots, and it doesn't need a repot. It would probably enjoy a repot, but it doesn't need one. Pink Princess. Right, what's next? So this is Melanochrysum. I've got about 5 of these, which I took from cuttings, which I have grown from cuttings of my plant that got root rots. And they are all doing super, super well. So this guy is putting through new leaves there. You can see the new leaf bud right there. And all of the others are doing exactly the same. Really loving them. I will probably sell some of these soon. So if you're interested in buying a Melanochrysum or trading a Melanochrysum, go and follow me on Instagram, because I'll post about it there. You will also see, if you follow me on Instagram, that I have recently acquired a much bigger Melanochrysum. So I'm getting rid of these to make a little bit more space. I will do a video about that bigger one later on in one of the other sections of this Philodendron collection series. But yeah, it's lovely. One of my favourite philodendrons, absolutely. Just the velvet, just the colour of the leaves, just the easiness of care. They really don't care about anything unless you leave them in too small a pot, in too much water, on a heat mat, and then their roots rot. But we're not all as stupid as I am. Yeah, love it. Menlik Rosen, there we go. Let's go for one of the slightly bigger ones. Again, this is a bit of a drippy one because I've just watered him. This is my Sodiroi ornatum, who's doing pretty well. Yeah, very, very well. It's grown a huge amount. Loves the greenhouse. Loves the high humidity. It's sticking out all those aerial roots everywhere I can see. I do need to get it a moss pole. I have one to give it, but I just haven't gotten around to putting it in. Yeah, because I have to repot it and everything. But even with these smaller leaves, it's very, very satisfying. Yeah, so interesting, the markings on from the Sodiroi side of the family tree. And it's got these nice pink petioles when it comes through. The nodes are pink, the aerial roots are pink as they grow through, and then they kind of darken to that pale green. But it's a wonderful plant. And super fast growing, like it's grown many leaves since I got it. Really, really nice. Probably get too tall for this quite fast, but I will cut it, repot it, whatever it needs. And once it gets the moss pole, I'm sure when the roots sink in, it will get some nice big leaves, which I'm very excited about too. There we go. Okay, we have 3 more plants to look at. The next 2 that you're going to see are cuttings. Yay! So first one you've seen before, this is the Philodendron Florida Beauty, who is doing precisely nothing, absolutely nothing. I have it on a heat mat, obviously buffered, so there's no kind of burnage. And it's doing very little. It's not rotting, it's not dying, nor is it growing. It has a little growth point for a new leaf, which is probably growing about 1 millimetre every 2 weeks. I've had it about a month now, and it's probably growing about 2 millimetres. But it's not dead, and so long as it's not dead and the node isn't rotten, there's a chance that it will grow, so I'm just going to keep it. Keep hoping that something will come of it, and in the meantime, I'm looking for a full plant, because the faff of rooting this is just too much. Yeah, never buy cuttings that aren't already partially rooted, at least, because it's just like, you never know. So, I love it. Still, that leaf is just beautiful. I'm really, really hoping it will do something. Yeah, it was a lot of money for one leaf. Okay, moving on. 2 more plants. Next one is a cutting again. So this one you have not seen before, I think. I'm really excited about this guy. This is a cutting that I bought with roots, or with a fair amount of roots anyway, because I have learnt my lesson. This is a Domesticum variegata. Ignore the beer class that it's in. Look at that. I'm very excited about this. This is one of my most recent purchases, and let's get it out of there so you can properly see. It has got some really nice roots growing. That big one is a little bit dead, but that's okay. It's got these lovely new ones with some offshooting roots as well, which means that they're properly established, I think. Good variegation in the stem, beautiful texture and colour to the variegation in the leaf. I think this might be one of my new favourite variegated plants. Stunning. If you have a chance to get one as well, get one. They're quite expensive generally, so if you find one that's not too expensive, absolutely snap it up. That's why I got a cutting. Beautiful. Yay! Moving on to our last plant. This is a slightly bigger one. Again, you've seen this before. Some of you. This is my Heterocrest Beadon, and it is doing nothing as well. So it arrived, this leaf, as you saw in the in the haul video I did where I got it, was snapped. It's still alive somehow, even though it is definitely very, very snapped. This leaf is hardened, but I feel like its development was slightly interrupted by the shipment. It has roots. They're not really growing. I'm taking them out regularly to check, which is maybe not the best thing. they are there, they are alive, there's not any root rot, but the medium that it arrived in was just really bad. Really, really bad. So, don't know why the grower put it in there. But it's out of it now, it's in some nice airy, sphagnum-y stuff just until the roots grow, and it's doing quite well. Yeah, I really hope this one settles in because it's quite a hard plant to get hold of, and it's really, really impressive when the leaves get a little bit bigger and more mature. So fingers crossed for that. But yeah, that is part 1 of my philodendron collection. These are the first 10 plants. If people are interested, I will stagger these a couple of weeks apart so you're not completely bored of it. But I will show you more of my plants, and the bigger ones and the more interesting, exciting ones for those of you who don't like Pink Princess and Birkin. Yay! Yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I always love talking about my plants because no one in my real life cares. And I will see you soon. If you want to see updates on these plants, please go and follow my Instagram at slugplants. I will put the link somewhere, anywhere, down below, whatever. And yeah, subscribe. There's a bell icon that you can touch as well if you want to. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.